Welcome to Movie Recall. In today's video, we will be going through the 2005 movie Oliver Twist. It's time to recall. Let's get started, turn on subtitles, and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we are taken back to the 19th century where we see an orphan young boy named Oliver Twist. He is poor and a man brings him back to the workplace. This is the same place where the boy was born. The man who has brought him there is called Mr. Bumble, and we learn that he has dragged the boy to the warehouse because it is Oliver's 9th birthday, and they have not brought him there to celebrate it. They have brought him there because they want him to start working as he is 9. He is taken to meet some important members of the warehouse, and after that, we see him working. There are many other kids at the warehouse, and they are more or less of Oliver's age. We see that the life these kids have is really hard because they have to go to work at the warehouse for the better part of the day, and the boss gives them very little to eat, which is evident in the way they eat their food when it is given to them. Sometimes they just have to stay hungry, and because of being so hungry all the time, some kids are not even able to sleep well at night, despite the fact that they work tirelessly the whole day. The next day, the boys go on to conduct a game, and Oliver ends up winning the lottery, and all the boys tell him to ask for more food in the next meal. They then go on to tell Oliver to get up when the food given to them is finished. Oliver is really scared at first, but then manages to find the courage to ask the old man in charge of the food. He tells them to give them a little more because he is still hungry, but the old man gets pissed and starts chasing him around the hall. Mr. Bumble also gets to know this and he does not like it. He tells the officials of the warehouse about what Oliver has done, and they decide that they are going to sell this kid off to someone else because he could be trouble for them. Oliver is just about to be given to a chimney sweeper, but much to his good luck, he does not end up with this man because he is too cruel. We then see a man named Sowerberry who is an undertaker, and he goes on to take Oliver under his wings. Oliver is going to work for them, and as time goes by, we see that he is always ordered around by everyone in the house. He does everything Sowerberry and his wife ask him to do, but we see that the wife and a boy named Noah still do not like the boy at all. Noah is an apprentice of Sowerberry, and he is also often seen ordering Oliver around. Noah is not a good boy, and he always keeps bullying Oliver. Oliver wants to retaliate, but he is too scared. One day, Oliver gets late in finishing a task assigned to him by Mrs. Sowerberry, and the woman does not take kindly to that. She goes on to scold him very badly. As time goes by, Oliver starts getting sick of Noah bullying him all the time. One day, Noah goes on to make fun of Oliver's mother and Oliver loses it. He goes on to attack him, and later on, Mrs. Sowerberry gets to know about his attack at the boy, so she goes on to beat him up as we see her hitting him on the buttocks with a stick. Oliver realizes that he cannot spend his life being treated like that all the time, so he decides to run away. One day, when no one is around, he gets out of the house and hauls ass out of there. He has very little food with him and decides to go to London. He decides that he is going to walk 70 miles to London because he, of course, does not have the money to pay someone to take him there. Oliver keeps walking for days with shoes that are almost torn. After a few days, he is out of food, and one day, he comes across a house on a road nearby. He knocks on the door and asks them for food, but the man at the house tells him to get out of there, and Oliver runs away. He keeps walking, and now he feels weak and a little sick, too. He is walking in the middle of the road near a village where he collapses and goes unconscious because he is too weak to walk anymore. An old woman who happens to be very kind-hearted too, she goes on to check on the boy, and the next thing we see, Oliver is eating food at her table, and she also lets him spend the night at her place. The next morning, he wakes up and keeps on his journey to London, and after having walked for 7 long days, he finally gets to the big city, and we go on to see that his feet are very badly wounded from walking continuously for so long with those torn shoes. He is noticed by a teenage boy named Jack Dawkins. Dawkins feels bad for him and is really nice to Oliver. He tells him to go with him, and as they pass different vendors in the crowded market, Dawkins keeps stealing stuff. It is revealed that he is a pickpocket, and Oliver tells him that he is really hungry, so he goes on to steal some bread and meat for him. Oliver tells him that he has no place to stay at night, so Dawkins invites him to spend the night with him and takes him to his place where we see many other kids, and it turns out all of them are pickpockets too. He then introduces him to his adult leader named Fagin. Fagin is old and works like a leader for these boys. They have a settlement. The man gives the boys good food and a place to live, while these boys pick pockets and bring him everything they steal, and that is how their lives have been going. They invite Oliver to become a member of their group, but Oliver goes on to tell them that he does not know how to pick a pocket. They start training the boy on how he can become a good pickpocket and a member of their group. The next thing we see, Oliver is on the streets, and this is his first day as a pickpocket. One of the boys goes on to steal a handkerchief from a man named Brownlow. Oliver is also there, but he does not even go close to Brownlow. Brownlow is standing in a bookshop reading a book when this incident happens, and the owner of the bookshop sees it happening, so he tells the man that his handkerchief has been stolen by the young boy there. Brownlow thinks that Oliver is the one who has stolen his handkerchief, so he starts chasing the boy. Oliver keeps running, and as the man shouts that the guy is a thief, some other passerby also start chasing Oliver, and the long chase comes to an end when Oliver is punched by an old man and Brownlow catches Oliver. He right away takes him to the court and demands trial for the boy. Oliver is, however, too weak to even stand in front of the judge because of the punch he got from the old man earlier. Judge, however, says that the boy is just faking it and tells him that he is going to be punished with 3 months of labor. This is when the owner of the bookshop gets there and goes on to tell Brownlow that Oliver is not the boy who stole his handkerchief, and Brownlow now feels bad for the little boy, so he decides to take him home. Back at the house, Fagin learns that Oliver has been caught, and he beats up Dawkins for letting him get caught. A man named Bill Sykes then enters the house, and Fagin tells him the whole Oliver story. He goes on to send a girl named Nancy to the court to find out where the boy is gone, and despite the fact that Nancy does not want to do so, she still has to. She is a prostitute, so she just has to take orders if someone is paying her good money. She goes to the court and manages to get some information on Mr. Brownlow. The scene then changes to Mr. Brownlow's house, where we go on to see that Brownlow is actually not a bad man. He sees that the boy is really weak, and so he goes on to tell his wife to take good care of Oliver and give the boy some good food to eat. Mr. Brownlow decides to take Oliver in and care for him when he learns of the boy's innocence. He now gives him good food, good lodgings, and even educates him. In simple words, he has almost adopted the boy, but he has not made it official yet, and Oliver is also good to the old man as he helps him with his work. One day, a parcel from a bookshop owner comes to Brownlow's house, and Oliver is the one to receive the books. He goes on to give the books to Brownlow, but the man tells him to stop the man who dropped those books. Oliver runs after the mailman, but he is gone by that time. Brownlow then tells Oliver to take back some of the books to the bookshop and even gives him a £5 bill which he has to give to the bookshop owner. However, when Oliver is on his way to the bookshop, he is caught by Nancy. Bill Sykes also gets there and grabs Oliver. They drag him to Fagin's place, and all the boys there make fun of him because he is now dressed well and looks clean. They go on to search his pockets and find the $5 bill, which they give to Fagin. Sykes gets pissed off at this and goes on to tell Fagin to give him that £5 bill because he is the one who found the boy in the first place. As they talk, Oliver runs out of there, but all of the boys go on to chase him. Fagin himself then manages to catch him and lock him in a room. He also goes on to make the other boys take off his fancy clothes and make him wear old clothes just like the other boys do. The next day, Fagin goes on to bring some food to the boy and tells him that he should not tell the police about them, adding that if he told the police, they could kill him too because they did it with one of the boys who tried to screw them over. The other boys tell Fagin to take it easy, but Fagin is still worried that he is going to tell the police. He orders the other boys to keep an eye on him. One day he learns that Oliver actually has a connection with a rich man named Brownlow. Oliver is then taken to Sykes, and Sykes and his accomplice, Toby Crackett, force Oliver to aid them in robbing Brownlow's house. Oliver begs them not to make him rob the man who gave him a house to live, but they of course do not give a crap about that. They tell Oliver to get into the house and open the front door. When Oliver is in there, he decides not to open the door, but when he is going away from the door, Sykes shows him his gun from outside, threatening to shoot him if he does not open the door, so Oliver has no choice but to open it. However, when he does that, it makes a lot of noise and Mr. Brownlow wakes up. This is how they are discovered, and Brownlow comes out with a gun in his hand. Oliver is wounded in a brief shootout between Brownlow and Sykes. As the three escape, Bill decides to murder Oliver to ensure his silence, but falls into a nearby river before he can take action. Sobey leaves Sykes to die and picks up Oliver and takes him back with him to Fagin. We go on to see that Bill Sykes has survived his near drowning, but is confined to a bed with a heavy fever. He and Fagin, who despite treating Oliver kindly, has a plot to kill Oliver when Sykes is recovered. Nancy has a maternal love for Oliver and does not want to see him hurt, but she is controlled by the abusive Sykes. Despite her fears, Nancy drugs Bill and sneaks to Brownlow's house, where she arranges to have him meet her on a London bridge at midnight so she can provide information about Oliver. At the meeting, Nancy cautiously reveals that Oliver is staying with Fagin and his band of pickpockets, and that the authorities will find them easily. Brownlow leaves to call the police. The artful Dodger, who's been sent by a suspicious Fagin to spy on Nancy, has heard everything and is bullied out of the information by Bill Sykes. Sykes is furious at Nancy's betrayal and brutally beats her to death in their apartment when she returns. The next day, information about Oliver and Fagin appear in the newspaper, along with Nancy's murder and the suspected guilt of Bill Sykes. Sykes' ever-present dog Bullseye is a dead giveaway to his identity. After unsuccessfully trying to kill the dog, who scampers away into the village, Sykes takes up residence with Toby Crockett. Fagin, Oliver, and the boys are hiding there too, after escaping their previous location before the police could find them. Their safety is short-lived as Bullseye soon guides a mob of police and locals to the group's hideout. Eventually, Dodger, who is outraged at Sykes for killing the kind-hearted Nancy, reveals their location to the authorities. Bill Sykes, planning to escape, takes Oliver onto the roof, knowing he will not be shot at if the boy is with him. When trying to scale the building using a rope, Sykes loses his footing and accidentally hangs himself. Oliver is now safe, and in the next scene, we go on to see that Oliver has now reunited with Mr. Brownlow and has been living with him in peace. Fagin has been arrested, and Oliver wants to see him, so he goes to visit Fagin in jail. He is sad to see Fagin, who is kind to him, hallucinating, and even more devastated to hear that Fagin will be executed for his crimes. The film ends with Oliver and Mr. Brownlow returning home to continue their lives, whilst a crowd gathers to witness preparations for Fagin's hanging, and with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.